What makes a legend? What mix of courage, inspiration, and inner strength propels an ordinary individual to make history, to stand out from the rest of the populace, shape the world around them, become heroes or villains? I am Funky Monkey. Come with me now as we leave the House of Love behind and enter a new realm, the House of Legends. Well, hey there, Internet, and welcome to my House of Legends. You know, the dimension theory is a curious thing, supposing that every decision we make bifurcates reality. Where you go left, another you goes right. Where you bite your tongue, another you might speak their mind. This is something that the superhero genre has embraced wholeheartedly, and brings me neatly onto today's legend, Deadpool and Wolverine. Released in 2024, which is a little less than I like to wait, but this one's worth it. Deadpool and Wolverine features the titular characters in an incredible adventure. Wade has retired from being a merc with a mouth, but the impending disaster of his entire reality collapsing spurs him back into action. This movie was predictably successful, grossing over $1 billion at the box office. Now, since I'm recording this less than a year since the movie's cinematic release, I'll put out a warning that there are going to be massive spoilers in this review. With that said, come with me now as we journey across dimensions with our legendary heroes, Deadpool and Wolverine. We catch up to our hero in the main MCU, interviewing to be a part of the real Avengers, which goes about as well as you'd expect. Cut to 6 years later, and Wade is Deadpool no more. But his surprise birthday bash is interrupted by the TVA. Because Wade's entire universe is in danger. With the death of an aging Logan at the end of that movie, Logan of course, Earth 10,005 lost its anchor and began to degrade. Not wishing to watch a doomed universe degrade over millennia, Administrator Paradox is preparing to deploy a Time Ripper to destroy Earth 10,005. Predictably, our protagonist doesn't take this news in great humour, and sets out on a quest to find a new Wolverine. Which again, goes about as well as you'd expect. Until we meet a curiously docile James Logan Howlett. And while this Wolverine has a story of his own, transplanting him into another universe to be its anchor being, well, it just doesn't work like that. And Paradox has no time for tomfoolery. And so our heroes end up in the Void, a barren space. Wade promises Logan a way to fix his own universe, which we later discover is an educated wish, which will make Logan very angry and lead to a protracted fight. But our heroes are captured and brought before this world's leader, Cassandra Nova. One swift if slightly shambolic escape later, we meet Nicepool. Nicepool is a variant Deadpool, one of an army that have ended up in the void. He loans our protagonists his car, and they set off in search of other survivors. And then they find them. Deadpool talks this ragtag bunch into a final strike against Cassandra. But shock! Pyro was working for the TVA. Now we skipped this, but Pyro was one of Cassandra's goon squad, having somehow ended up in the void, but never liked taking orders in the first place. And so our heroes make their big final assault on Cassandra's compound. But of course, Cassandra Nova doesn't go down so easy. And she's very interested in this Wolverine. So what was it that Wolverine did to make him persona non grata of an entire Earth? Well, one night, while Logan was out drinking his feelings, an anti-mutant force broke into the mansion and somehow managed to kill all of the X-Men, Seems a little far-fetched with two of the world's most powerful telepaths on the team, but hey, drama is drama. When Logan returned, they were all dead. And so Logan went off on a roaring rampage of revenge, which then became a killing spree of despair, and forever tarnished the name of both the X-Men and our former hero. But it was all a ruse, and Cassandra is caged. And so our heroes sling ring back to Earth 10,005. But oh dear, Pyro's failed rebellion leads Cassandra straight to Paradox. So it's Deadpool Prime and Wolverine versus an entire corps of Deadpools. But oh dear, there can be no winners in this fight. Enter the one and only Sugar Bear to end this stalemate, peacefully. The mid-credits denouement of Deadpool 2 showed Wade saving Vanessa from his earlier mistake, and allowing him to save Peter, his Sugar Bear, as well. So it wasn't just an excuse for a series of vengeful fantasies on the part of Ryan Reynolds. Who knew? Cassandra still looks to destroy all outside the void, and the only way to stop her is to short-circuit the machine. Wade steps up, almost flames out, and Logan completes the circuit. Exit Cassandra, and Paradox, for building an unsanctioned Time Ripper. And so our movie ends with another celebration. So that was Deadpool and Wolverine. A thinly stretched plot, filled with gratuitous violence and foul language. But if Hot Fuzz could find its way into the House of Love, I'm sure that I can find a place for this movie in my House of Legends. This movie is meta. There's no getting around it. The fourth wall is well and truly broken down at this point, even if it's only the pool that wants to directly address that. And it's another story of redemption, as Wade finds a Logan at his lowest ebb, and it would all fall as flat as a pancake if it wasn't for Van City Wilson, who was instrumental in bringing this lunacy to the screen, and then has the stones to turn in a maximum effort performance, and Hugh Jackman returning to the role of Wolverine at his angriest, his saddest, but his most determined as he finally finds some level of kinship. Of the antagonists, Emma Corrin is a disinterested and yet somewhat seductive Cassandra Nova, Queen of the Void, who was happy where she was until she was disturbed by Matthew McFadden's Paradox, who really doesn't want to be where he is in life. But there's no getting around another fact, that the plot is paper thin, but it makes for a rock-solid flow. You saw the title, you know who the heroes are, and it's Deadpool and Wolverine almost all the way, except for a couple of moments to further the plot. A wild and wacky outing which dips into the multiverse and brings the license era of the 2000s and 2010s to a close. Which means that if you're coming into this one fresh, I have one word for you. Don't! This is a movie that is deeply tied to the Marvel multiverse, and filled with references to the MCU, the licenses, the comics, and even Ryan Reynolds' co-ownership of Wrexham FC. And as much as it tries to be its own story, it makes so much more sense if you're a true believer, and that will definitely put some people off. Not to mention, of course, the blood, the gore, the cursing. Though by this point it's almost cartoonish in its spectacle. Blood and chimichangas, to coin a reference. But for fearless front faces, permanent Marvelites Maximi, and real cinematic ones, as long as they're old enough, Deadpool and Wolverine, even as irreverent as the other Deadpool movies, is a tribute to everything that came before it, and a stepping stone to everything that comes after. I've been Funky Monkey, inviting you to start your own legend and see where it leads. Speaking of which, I should really see where the legend of Funky M has led lately. So long, folks. Hey all, multi-sighted Funky M here, reminding you to drop a like if you like the video, and hit subscribe. And check the Patreon linked in the description, with juicier cuts of videos. And if you don't feel like doing any of it, I'm silently judging you. Nah, just kidding. Peace out, humans.